and welcome to UCTV Overtime. I'm Ryan Culloway.
And I'm Ethan Tremblay. This semester we brought you the latest in UC's home sporting events and kept you up to date on all things athletics.
This will be our final update for the spring 2021 semester. Congratulations to Dave Clausen, Brian Marcantonio, and Patrick Coughlin for being named the Empire 8 Coaching Staff of the Year for a second straight season for the men's golf team.
Tuesday was a beautiful day for the men's golf team to compete in the Elmira College Spring Invitational. Among 4 golfers from Utica, the Pioneers scored 351 strokes on the par 72 6,500 yard layout. Members from the ice hockey team also made their debut on the golf course. Freshman Blake Holmes demonstrated in 18 over par with a total of 90 strokes.
On Tuesday, Utica came out on top over the St. John Fisher Cardinals in their baseball doubleheader. This is the first recorded win against St. John Fisher in baseball over the past 5 years. Griffin Bauer started off with a bang in the first 2 innings, pitching into 7 batters, helping to keep UC in the lead 2-0. The 9th inning finished with a compelling run made by Daniel Parslow, giving the Pioneers a hefty lead, the final score reading 8-2.
The baseball team fell to St. John Fisher College in both games of the doubleheader on Saturday. In Game 1, the Pioneers jumped out to an early 1-0 lead after the top of the first. Joe Batista recorded his 26th RBI on the season on a single to center field, which brought home Sean Villegas. Unfortunately, the Cardinals exploded for 16 runs on 15 hits over the first 4 innings, pulled away to a 16-1 lead. This blow came in the 2nd inning when Fisher scored 9 runs by sending 13 players to bat. Batista, Villegas, David House, John Longretti, and John Sun were responsible for 5 hits for UC. The final score of Game 1 was 16-1 Fisher.
To start the second game, neither team recorded a run through the first 3 innings of the game. Pioneers starter James Rochelab went toe-to-toe against R.J. Kurtz, one of the top pitchers in the conference. Rochelab was on a roll as he allowed just 1 hit and 1 walk while putting out 4 of the first 9 batters via the strikeout. UC's Ryan Cardone started the scoring in the top of the 4th with a 2-run home run, which is his first collegiate home run of his career. Just like Game 1, Fisher added more runs of their own on 2 home runs, making the score 5-2 after 4 innings. After missing a golden opportunity for more runs, Fisher took advantage by scoring 4 more, making the score 9-2. Michael Moutiner hit an RBI sacrifice fly in the 8th inning, while Jason Story added an RBI double in the 9th to make the final score of the game 9-4 Fisher. Ryan Cardone, Zach Kronk, and John Sun all recorded 2 hits at the plate, while Brendan Sarnowski tossed a clean 1 2/3 innings performance and allowing no hits and runs while recording 1 strikeout.
Wednesday, women's softball played a doubleheader against Russell Sage Gators for a split game and result. Sophomore Jordan Kant gave a standing lead for the Pioneers, putting them up 2-0. Later in the inning, Sarah Skronsky scored a triple near the left, bringing in 2 more runs, giving Utica a chance, the score being 8-4. This didn't slow Sage down. UC only scored 2 more runs, the final score reading 14-6.
For the second game, the first inning started off with no team scores, but Sage took the board first. Opposite of the first game, Sage took the lead, but UC's Brooke Catlin brought in Stronsky and Emily Joss, putting UC on the board. Going into the 5th inning, UC took the lead. Josh made a solid breakaway for the Pioneers, but the Gators kept them within reach. This game was a heartbreaking loss for UC, with the final score reading 6-4 in favor of Russell Sage.
The sophomore team took on Hatton in a thrilling doubleheader on Saturday. UC won 1 but lost in Game 2. UC came out with a 2-1 victory in Game 1. In the low-scoring game, it was a pitcher's duel between Jordan Conti and Hatton's Kaylee Loomis. UC took the lead in the first inning as Sarah Skronsky hit Catlin home on a double for a 1-0 lead. The game was at a stalemate going into the 7th. Bailey McConaughey hit a fly ball which was mishandled by Hatton's left fielder. With the ball taking off towards the back wall, Madison Akats turned down the Jets and made the turn home to go to home plate. This was a winning rock-in-one for a walk-off fashion. Kant was able to complete the game with a two-hitter, and she struck out one batter. The outfielders had her back by only making one error and played sharp defense.
Utica lost in the much higher scoring Game 2. The score was a combined 15 runs with Houghton bringing in 9 to Utica's 6. Joss went 3 for 4 with a 6-inning home run along with a double and 3 RBIs. Brooke Catlin went 2 for 4 with a pair of runs scored and another pair driven in. Erica Sanford went 2 for 3 with 1 run scored, and Bailey McElwain went 2 for 4. In the early rounds, UC led the game 3-0. Joss doubled to bring in Catlin in the first. Then Catlin got a hold of one and ripped a single to left field, which brought in Sanford and Duvall in the second. Unfortunately, Houghton scored the next 7 runs, taking a 7-3 lead. Utica tried to gain some momentum in the fourth as Abigail Finch scored on an error. Then out of nowhere, Joss released another RBI double to bring Catlin home. Emily Joss was the last one to score for UC on a solo home run to left field. Sadly, it was not enough as Houghton took the game by a score of 9-6.
Last Tuesday, the Utica women's lacrosse team made history with their first ever home playoff game. In this game, they faced against Cayuga College. Utica was able to run away with the game very early on by scoring 14 goals in the first half and keeping the Wolves to only 3. Going into the second half of the game, the Pioneers kept up their impressive defense by only allowing 1 goal in. Utica slowed down a little in the second in the offense with only 6 goals. Junior Lexi Scatia had an impressive game, leading the team with 5 goals and 2 assists. At the end of the night, the Pioneers had 10 different players scoring, finishing out the game with a final score of 20-4.
On Friday, the women's lacrosse team played again, facing off against the second-seeded Nazareth College in the Empire 8 tournament semifinals. These teams played hard against each other, resulting in a back-and-forth game. By the end of the first half, Utica was able to hit the back of the net 4 times, leading Naz by 1 point. With the Pioneers having the lead going into the second half, they unfortunately were unable to maintain it, allowing 6 goals in the half. Sophomore Samantha DeCondo was able to put in one last goal in the final minute of the game, but it wasn't enough, leaving the final score to be 9-8, with the Pioneers being knocked out of the tournament. DeCondo was also this game's leading scorer, netting 3 goals for the day. This team had a fantastic season, finishing with an overall record of 9-6.
Despite the rainfall yesterday afternoon, the Pioneers women's track team was in Cortland for the Cortland Conference Qualifier. Utica took home the trophy in 5 events, moving on the Empire 8 Championship this weekend. For the women, Kelsey Wands soared into straight win in the long jump, reading in at 5.50 meters. During the 1500, Elizabeth Darling made a breakaway for UC, claiming 10th place with a time of 5 minutes 31 seconds.
Highlighting the men's competitions, starting off with a 100-meter dash, both Dejan Richards and Josh Washington was within 11 seconds. Zarel Wright finished the men's triple jump in second place with a distance of 12.95 meters. Justin Valentine ended in third for the 400 hurdles at 1 minute and 1 second.
Saturday, the tennis team traveled to play against Alfred University in an unfortunate loss, 8-1. Junior Austin McGrain won his singles match against Isaac Little with an outstanding landslide, 6-3 and 6-1.
Unfortunately, Utica fell to St. John Fisher College in a men's tennis match on Sunday. The season concluded in a loss of 5-4, sending St. John Fisher into the Empire 8 Conference Tournament on a 2-game winning streak. After taking an 8-6 win in the first doubles, the second doubles took an 8-2 loss and another loss in the third doubles. The Pioneers continued on to take a 4-2 lead in singles play. UC will still make it into the Empire 8 tournament as they take on the Alfred Saxons again for the first round of the Empire 8 Conference Tournament.
This week will be another action-packed week for the Pioneers. Today, the men's golf team will be home taking on SUNY Delhi Broncos.
On Tuesday, the baseball team will be taking on the Keuka Wolves here at UC. Game time is set for 2 p.m.
Wednesday brings more action with the men's baseball team, but this time they play a doubleheader against the Elmira Soaring Eagles. Game time is scheduled for 1 and 3 p.m.
Tennis will be fighting for the win during the Empire 8 first round match at Alfred. Game time is to be determined.
On Friday, the men's and women's track team will be on the road at St. John Fisher College. Times for these meets are to be determined.
Saturday is more exciting as multiple sports teams are in action. The men's and women's track teams will continue to be competing at St. John Fisher College at times that are still yet to be determined.
Softball will be traveling to Cayuga College to take on the Wolves at a time that is to be determined.
Baseball will also be on the road taking on Houghton College. The time for this game is scheduled for 1 p.m.
To close out the week, the baseball team will be traveling back to Elmira College. This game time is scheduled for 1 p.m.
And that is going to wrap up today's showing of UCTV Overtime.
And also for the rest of the semester.
Good luck to all of those who are finishing up their season, and you can still continue to watch all the competitions on our website at ucpioneers.com.
Thank you all for tuning in, and always remember to
Fear the Moose.
Moose.